All right, all right. Is it working? Is it working? Is it working? Are we good? Are we good? What kind of shenanigans was that? I don't even know. I don't even know. Like, I didn't do anything different this time than I did the first two times. Like, I didn't do anything different. No, don't even try it, Derple. Don't even try it, Derple. Everybody else says it's working. I'm not falling for it, man. All right, I think we're good. Okay, coffee. What a mess, man. Let me get my mic turned around. So sound is good. All right, I think we're okay. Lord have mercy. Too much coffee. I should have given some to my laptop. So we've got a few things we want to talk about this morning. First and foremost, look, if you are not subscribed to our YouTube, do so. That way you get notified. Turn on the alerts. You get notified every time we go live. We're actually going to be picking up the pace once again of our YouTube videos. I think that's really, really important. I was traveling for a little while. That's why we the pace lowered for a little bit. But I am back home, back where I need to be. So we are going to pick up the pace. I think that's more important when markets are, when there's fear abroad. That way you guys always keep and have a level-headed perspective. Very rarely is the extreme perspective the right perspective, and we're already seeing that play out with tariffs. We're going to talk about that along with everything else that we have to talk about. So I know we just did one. I want to do one today. Probably going to do another one in a couple of days because there's so many things developing literally on a daily basis. I get so excited to open my particular news sources of information because that is how fast I know. I need to burp, but I'm trying to do it politely. Trying to do it politely. There we go. Inside burp. So that's why we're doing this video today. And then we are going to be talking about altcoins. I do want to do that. As a matter of fact, probably at the very end of this, we're going to talk about probably the most bullish chart in crypto. And I have no idea why. And it's actually pretty funny considering what it is. And so we will actually talk about that one at the end, not because you need to do anything about it, just because it is what it is. Yeah, so we'll throw that one at the far end. But I know everybody wants to know about altcoins, and the funniest question that I get, which makes no sense, I actually got one again this morning, is people on Twitter saying, what about, and then they insert their particular altcoin. Like, what about TEL? Or no, what's wrong with TEL? Okay. Probably the same thing that's wrong with global markets. Okay. There's nothing wrong with TEL. Okay. I don't even know why I answer those. I think I just do it because I really want you to come around and understand that if you're looking at individual altcoins right now and saying, what's wrong with this? It's going down in price. Your head is probably in the sand. Okay. Because what's going on right now with global markets is based completely off of fear because of what is happening with economics, not just here at home in the United States, but globally. For those that don't think this is a global issue or a global thing, you have absolutely no globality. That is a word, by the way. I am allowed to use it. So don't at me. Don't at me for using the word globality. Of economics is shifting, and it's shifting now. And we're seeing a lot of that being forced by the momentum and power and pressure of what is going on right now in the United States. So we're following that very closely. But we want to talk, before we get into the charts of Bitcoin and Ethereum, because I do want you to see, and by the way, nothing has happened on those charts that we didn't already discuss. This is why I like if you skip my videos, you're not really keeping up. Okay, if this is your first video, you need to be watching all of them. So again, let me get this out of the way. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. That way you get alerted every time we do something live or every time we post something, because we are probably going to be posting between 4 to 5 videos per week. So please subscribe to our YouTube so that and then set your notifications on so you get alerted when we post something. Also, sometimes I forget this. Once again, everything we do on YouTube is sponsored by the Great 4C Media Co. Please make sure you're following them on Twitter. Latest, greatest, and breaking crypto and global financial news. That being said, everybody give a shout out to my right-hand man, Nash, please, because without Nash, this would not be happening. Thank you, my brother. All right, we did it. Let's go ahead and press. So we've got to talk about some major things that have just occurred. Thank you. Yes, give Nash a shout. Most of you guys know Nash. He's been with me since before day one, and has made a lot of this possible. So let's talk about the tariff war. We talked about the narrative. Anytime you have narrative, you need to be able to see between the smoke and the mirrors and the shenanigans and the extremes. Okay. It came out as a tariff war, and I talked about this before. I said it before it happened, before it was even announced. That's how it was going to start. Okay. And everybody was, and all of the apocalyptic people were going to come out of the woodwork, and they did. And the same people that did it from COVID and did it with all the wars and blah, 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 and have been wrong 50 times plus. Same people. So the same people using these things to create even more fear, FUD, and all this other crap. Why? Because it promotes likes. People love that stuff. And then if you post something reasonable on Twitter, you might get 50, 60 likes. You've got to be really extreme. Post unreasonable horse poo, and then you can get your 1,000. Or just post something about XRP, and you can get 1,000 likes on anything. And I have done this experiment. You guys know. How many times have I just posted XRP and nothing else and gotten 1,000 likes? Like nothing, just XRP in a tweet, and 1,000 people will like it. Like it's just insane. It's crazy. So we're bringing a level head perspective to everything that's going on in the news, everything that's extreme, and bringing it to the middle so that you can understand what is actually happening. Tariff war, that narrative is already dissipating, and is becoming exactly what I said it would: tariff deals. That was the point. That was always the point. All right. And we've got this, and then as soon as that all happened, your surface level economic experts came out and said, this isn't going to work because foreign nations are just going to increase the price of their product and pass it on to the consumer. That first of all, it's a cliche. And now everybody's saying it as if that is the economic thing. Like you just found the secret. Tariffs won't work because nations will just, you have literally no clue. Like that is so deficient of what is happening. All right. Global markets are crashing. Global markets are crashing. Not just the US dipping. It's a global thing. This is a global event wherein every nation is going to have to come to the table. Period. That was the design. That was the intent. By the way, just the other day, I posted we posted that 50 nations have come to the table and want to bargain. Within a day, like yesterday, from that time to yesterday, that number is now like 70. That number is going to continue to grow and climb. Over the period of the next few days to the whole month, I anticipate that the majority of this tariff shenanigans to be bargained out, which was the grand plan, the design, the scheme all along. Okay, so we're going to begin to see this flow out over the next few weeks. I did post something to all of my subs about the truth of the economics, where I don't want to hold a class on that here, on why the idea that it won't work because countries are just going to pass the cost on to the consumer. I'll repost that. I'll try to find it and post it for you guys on Twitter as well, those of you who are not subscribers, so that you can actually see just how deep and how far and how intrinsic this shift is, and why that cliche is just not a good answer for what's going on. So again, tariff war, that was the narrative. That was the mass fear. Now is already being envisioned because of the number of nations that have come forward. 70 up to this point have come forward and are at the bargaining table, and that will continue. And again, and I said this before, your biggest nations won't start out that way. Why? Because they're not going to bow the knee like immediately, or they want to puff their chest as well. So you see China, you see the European Union. They started out with their chest puffed and blah, 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 blah. We're going to fight. We're going to fight. You know, China's still doing it. I expect them to take the longest. But even just yesterday, the European Union, I think we're going to bargain. That, because at first they don't want to look like they're weak. So they're going to start off saying, yes, tariff war, let's do this. Same thing Canada did. Same thing Mexico did. They all start off that way. Why? Because they don't want to appear weak. Great. Puff your chest, pound it, give it a week, and then come to the table. And then everybody's going to work out a deal where everybody's happy, or should be. But that's actually what's going to happen. So once again, the narrative versus the truth, okay? And that evolution is occurring very fast. I see that number of nations piling up significantly over the next few weeks. So that's one item. Expect more of that throughout the next few weeks. Yet another major win for crypto. Major win for crypto. And you guys are wanting all of these wins to reflect in price. I get it. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. It's coming. What is coming cannot be stopped. So the idea that all of these things that are happening in the news have to reflect right now in price, it's just not the way things work, okay? It's just not how it works. But the new one is that the Justice Department, their crypto warriors, their team that was put together to attack the industry, has been abolished and disassembled. This just came out yesterday. That based on the way that our political machine is moving in the United States, we've already seen this happen to the SEC, and we've already seen, and now it's happening to the Justice Department. So they're scrapping all that. So all of those machines, those tanks, those war vehicles that were put into place with a prior political machine to attack crypto. Remember, to attack crypto, to keep crypto at bay for 4 years while Wall Street could move in, those times are over because Wall Street is here. Those machines are now being destroyed, dismantled. I've been talking about this for years. Those machines did their jobs. Some people are like, they're laughing at them like they failed. Look, Gary Gensler with the SEC, he did what he was supposed to do. He was paid to create and cause FUD, fear, uncertainty, doubt in the industry, so Wall Street could build over the last 4 years all of their machines, all of their components, so that they're at the point where they are today, where they're ready to be in crypto. Banks have been given the green light across the board from both regulatory agencies, have been given the green light for crypto. So agencies being dismantled, jobs done, Wall Street is here, and this is where we're going. That's why this little dip, who cares? Who cares? You cannot stop what is coming. So that's the second piece of news that I wanted to cover today, was the Justice Department being. It's no longer about attacking crypto, okay? Because now all of these regimes and regulatory structures now have pro-crypto personnel inside of them. Because right now, what is the priority in the United States? Producing the regulatory framework. First for stablecoins, because that is the future of digital cash. And that, my friends, is what will back the dollar. Whether that be digital dollar or whatever. It's not going to be a CBDC, but you can still have a digital dollar and not be a central bank digital currency. The stable coins are coming on. They're buying US treasuries. They're being put into place so that they will have a one-to-one asset to coin, which will be verifiable 24/7 because of blockchain. This won't be this audit once every quarter. Do they have it? Do they not have it? Imagine if we had that for FTX. Well, that's what we had. And FTX didn't have 90% of what they said they had. They didn't have it. They didn't have it because there was no system put in place to validate or audit that. Well, we're not just talking about audits now. We're talking about 24/7 24/7 proof of reserves for every stablecoin that wants to exist in this country. And we ain't going to be the only ones. Every other country is going to put that as well. And guess who's going to provide them with that transparency? The godfather of crypto, Chainlink, who already has the product ready to go. That's just one of the things Chainlink is doing. But I digress. Anyway, I just want to talk a little bit about how that's evolving, how things are moving forward, because even with all of this stuff, because that regulatory framework is what we're waiting for. I think Trump said drop dead date by August. Now, I think stablecoins regulatory framework, we could see possibly by end of month, possibly by end of April. But for the rest of crypto, where everything has been identified, given its title, what are you or what aren't you? Are you a stablecoin? Okay, that's your title. Are you a currency? Okay, that's your title. Are you a commodity? Okay, that's your title. Are you a security? Okay, that's your title. Are you a collectible? NFTs and memes, collectible. They're all going to be given their titles. And based on those titles, it will determine which federal entity governs them. Will it be the SEC? Will it be the CFTC? Blah, 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 and all those things. So those frameworks are what are being mapped out. Stablecoins first, and then the rest of crypto. Hopefully, all of it, hopefully by end of August. But I think stablecoins possibly by end of month. And this is fantastic because that is a huge, huge thing. And then finally, last piece of news, and then we'll look at some charts. And I've been talking for way too long already. I wanted to keep this one short. This one's fantastic. So Trump is going to be, I don't even know which word to use, obliterating and then completely restructuring the tax code. We've already seen that 25% of the IRS employees have been laid off. That dropped that number from 90,000 something to 60 something thousand. And then in the fine print, it said another 75%. Guess what that takes the IRS employee count to? Now, I'm not a fan of people losing their jobs. So don't mistake my excitement for the excitement of people losing their jobs. I don't like that in any way, shape, or form. It is what it is. But in order to improve the system, this is something that does need to happen. The other 75% would take the IRS employee count down to 16,000 something employees. From 90,000 employees to 16,000 something employees. That's part one. So you're reading through the fine print. So if that is going to happen, what does that tell you about the new code? It tells you it's going to be pretty drastic. It's going to be significant. Probably in every way, shape, and form. But the biggest one, and he just said it again yesterday, and now when Trump says something, you've got to listen, because nobody believed he would do any of the stuff that he's doing right now, and it's happening. Like, he came out swinging, and almost everything he said he's going to do, he's doing left and right. Yesterday, he said that they are on track. I love this. I just love this so much. They are on track to completely abolish capital gains taxes in the U.S. Woo! Come on! That is lights out beautiful. Now, there's a lot of other things that he's already addressed in the new code. For example, tips being tax-free, your interest that you pay on car payments being taxed. I mean, there's a lot of things he said, but this one is huge because of what it does to the markets. Everybody talking about, we're going to be in a bear market for the next 10 years. No, we're not. That's so dumb. It's not even like, that's not even logical. Okay. When you put capital gains at 0%, where do you think money's going to go? It's going to go into all markets because the capital gains is tax free. Like, just use your head. All right. So I've said this before. It looks bad now, but it's because it's such a dynamic shift. It's such a dynamic evolution in economics across the board. These aren't small changes that are going on in our nation. It's a complete shift in financial policy, in the way we money, in the way we use money across the board, inside and out, skeleton, skin, circulatory, respiratory, reproductory. It's all being changed. Like, it's significant. So this pain, while the apocalyptic folks are preaching fear and all this other hocus pocus, if you literally look at what's happening beneath the surface, I think you'll relax. And again, everybody likes to talk about the key to investing is buy low, sell high until you get an opportunity. Because in order for you to buy low, it's got to look what? Apocalyptic. It just has to. And so now you have the shot, and we're talking about all markets. I mean, this is not crypto-centric. All markets, the Dow, the S&P, every index has capitulated, which for me indicates something that's short-term. Because why? It's fear-based. Somebody's like, this isn't like COVID. This one's not like COVID. Fear is fear. I don't care what you title it. Fear is fear. COVID was a capitulatory, fear-based crash. The one we have now is a capitulatory, fear-based crash, not a top, and we're going to just go into a 10-year bust. It's not how it works. It's just not how it works. But anyway, that's what they want you to believe. And they've been wrong time and time and time again. Let's see what we got. So those are the 4 news items. Let's go ahead and real quick look at Bitcoin, look at Ethereum, and then we'll call it quits on this video. And I'll do another one very, very soon. Let me get this set up for you. All right. Share screen. Boom. There we go. So this one, I love this one. I love this one. And that's why I tell my chartists not to delete their lines. I'm going to back. So this is the daily chart of Bitcoin. But I'm going to put up the weekly so you can see it a little bit better. Yeah. All right. Let me give me an arrow here. We're going to make the arrow green to put you in a better mood because everybody's so tired of seeing red these days. So this was the initial macro trend channel that Bitcoin was in since the lows. We got to go to here and was in for literally 440 days. Remember, this is a weekly chart. So up to that shaded area, that's 440 days that Bitcoin was inside of this channel. This was a channel that the elite used in the early stages, closer towards the halving, to trade Bitcoin and other things. And it was a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful channel. And then Bitcoin did leave the building. So it left this channel. Most people would have abandoned this channel at this point. Why? Because this is from the channel breakout, this is almost a 50% run. So this is almost a 50% run. So a lot of times chartists are like, well, I don't need these anymore, delete these. So in deleting them, you would have lost the power of the channel because yes, you got a 50% run, but during this 220 days, guys, this is 220 days right here, 220-day pullback, which we called correctly. The elite called this correctly. We even noticed the bottom and we longed, the 360 elite longed Bitcoin from here to 100K. I have over 700 people that will vouch for that. That's right. Yep, we did. We entered right in here. We longed Bitcoin to 100K. And that was our final exit. And we scaled out it multiple times here. But look how well this channel came back into play here. Perfectly off these lines like a guitar string. And then it's got a bottom visit and then off it goes. See, we've already got one in there already that can verify. Now, we have another pullback, okay? And currently, Bitcoin is in, I would call this a correction. because it's 30%. This is a 30% drop, okay? This one was a 34% drop. So the 220 days, this one right here was a 34% correction. This one, if it's over 15%, I move from pullback to correction. All right, anywhere 15% or higher, I call it a pullback. Once you get deeper than 50%, I call it a correction. But it doesn't mean that you've topped for the cycle. We knew we hadn't topped for the cycle here. Why? Because there was no distribution volume. There was no distributed volume. This is a correction. And again, there is no end of cycle distribution volume, despite what apocalyptic people want you to believe. And look at this perfect bounce off the top. Again, this left the channel. This time, from the channel breakout to the high was even bigger. 65%, folks. 65%. Again, most people would have abandoned this channel again. And yet now, look what we have. We have the perfect bounce off the channel top. Is it done here? Unknown. The first thing you need to know about charts right now is when you make new lows, and Bitcoin and Ethereum has made new lows, and so has all the stock market indexes, then the initial bounce is just a bounce. You understand that? Nobody can say that that's the bottom, because a bounce isn't enough. You need a lot more information than just a bounce off the lows. So let's go back to our dynamic chart. How about now? How about now? How about now? I'm back. All right. Good to go. All right. Yeah, we're almost done. Literally, we're almost done. So I'm going to try to share screen one more time and get through Bitcoin and get through Ethereum. Stand by. Stand by. I'm having so much fun. Oh, and then there is one more piece of news I almost forgot about that we have to talk about that is huge, 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 huge. All right, so guys, I want you to see this. So these are the pinch points. We talked about this before. This is the liquidity. See this fair value gap right here, this green zone? There's liquidity here, okay? So there's your bounce. I like it. There's your top of the previous market structure, and here's your trend line. So descending trend line. Ascending trend line, liquidity. So we're pinching here, okay? So this is what we're looking at right here. So right now we do have an initial bounce, and I'm trying to see, what I want to see here is, where's my cursor? I do not know what is going on with this computer. All right, I'm going to show you something. What the heck? All right, here we go. So this is interesting. So this is the structure, that possible bottom we were forming here. You remember we talked about this? You have liquidation wick. You have it revisited by candle bodies. We talked about this inverted head and shoulders that needed to break out in order for it to confirm. Instead, we got a low to this support structure. And look, this has been recaptured. So I came to where the candle bodies are. This has been recaptured. All right. There's still not enough to know whether this is going to come back and revisit this or whether this is going to hold back up and this structure begins to play out. That is what we're watching for right now. That is what we're looking for right now. We have to let this play out to see what's going to happen. But this did recapture the former structure right here. Barely, like it's just above that area, but it's there. Okay, but it's there. So this is what we're watching over the next couple of days to a week to see if this can establish a hold and if buyers can come back in. But you can see the significance of the buyers here on the daily off this. This is a major demand. That's why you have a major volume level there. Lots of buyers there. Lots of buyers. All right. So could this be a bear trap and this still be the low structure? It could. But you can't say that without seeing this area here. Again, I said this before. I said it in the last video. And sure enough, this did dip down below. I said it was possible, and we got it. So I'm just showing you what's possible. Anybody that thinks they know how this is going to play out, no, you don't. So I'm showing you what is present and what is there. And we are on top of it. We are watching it. We even got a theory level that I showed you guys on the last video as well. Let me go to Ethereum. Boom! To the T. There's that 1500 level that I said in the last video. It's even starred for you. Right there. Right there. And look, perfect test. Perfect test of this support level. And that is where we're at right now. So again, as of right now, any bounce is just a bounce until proven otherwise. And we are watching for that. So now I want to go ahead and give you the other piece of news because of how significant it is. So let me pull this up and then we'll call it quits because this is a big deal. This is a big deal. Stand by. Boom! Yep. This is so significant, and not just because of its individual, the individual news that it is, because of what it represents. Okay. This is the very first time that a crypto company has just acquired traditional finance company. This is a massive deal. Broken or hidden road, traditional finance. They trade over assets, and now they're by Ripple. This is so parabolically incredible because we are going to see the rate and pace of this. I mean, this is amazing. You guys need to read this. And by the way, Hidden Road has over 300 institutional clients, big ones. Huge, this deal. So what does it represent? Why is it such a big deal? Because it represents what is going on. And what is going on is the future of finance, or what I should stop calling it that. The present of finance is starting to take over traditional finance, or to take precedence over. This is like, you should be seeing this in reverse, right? You would think traditional companies would be buying the future of finance companies, but it's actually not happening that way. That is how powerful the future of finance, how much money the future of finance these companies already have, that they're back and start buying major players in traditional finance. This is so huge. And by the way, I want to add one more thing here before I call it quits. The number of crypto companies, the number of blockchain companies that are filing for IPOs in the stock market is skyrocketing. And I'm going to do another video on that in the future, but it is skyrocketing. You have Kraken Exchange just filed. There's actually 2 exchanges that I know of. There may be more that have filed to be publicly traded companies. So what does that mean? That means the future of finance is now the present of finance, and is now Wall Street, Wall Street, Wall Street, Wall Street, Wall Street. It is what it is. It is what it is. All right, guys, I apologize for the, there we go. I apologize.